gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. It is Tuesday, April 15th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching live on YouTube, we greatly appreciate that. We have those everyday people that I see on there every day watching the show live. We appreciate that very much. We're up to 992 subscribers. Why do I keep on harping on that? Well, I really want to get to 1,000. 1,000 feels good, and we're getting oh so close, so 8 subscribers away. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Just click the subscribe button. If you have, make sure you tell a friend or two around the Quad Cities about what we're doing each and every day right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, talking sports and a little everything every day at 10 a.m., every weekday at 10 a.m. It's been a bunch of fun. We've been doing it for over 3 months now, and it's been a lot of fun, and we hope to continue to do it for a long, long time. We're also live on X. If you're watching us on X, we appreciate that as well. And I tell you guys every day, you don't got to look at me. I don't blame you. You can always download the show podcast form at all of the podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, you name it. We should be on there. So wherever you get your podcasts, go ahead, download it. Work out tonight, go for a run. If you're in your car driving around, check out the show that way as well. A fun show today. I'm really excited about today's Tuesday show. Coming up in a matter of moments, we're going to check in with our good friend Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report. Iowa landed a transfer yesterday, Brendan Hausen, so we'll talk about him. Also, kind of want to talk about what's coming in college football, because I know Tom believes that this spring period in which the transfer portal opens up will be a little more active than it was last year. So we'll talk about all that and much more with Tom Kakert in a matter of moments. Also, coming up a little bit later on in hour number 1, I love high school football. I am the 25 years-ish that I did it at WQAD. Friday nights were probably my favorite thing I got to do. Love high school football on a Friday night. And just announced yesterday, it'll be Assumption and Geneseo in week 2. That's a 2-year contract. Great to see 2 awesome programs from our area, one on the Iowa side, one on the Illinois side, play each other. And I feel like there should be more of that. We're going to be joined by both head coaches, Matt Furlong at Geneseo, Nate Gilbraith over at Assumption, to kind of talk about how it all came about, what it means to both schools, and then kind of, fantasize a little bit about what it could be and what a day or a shootout could be for football. They do it in basketball for the girls and the guys. 1 day, 2 days, high school football, Iowa versus Illinois, maybe at Augustana, something like that would be, it would just be awesome. So we got them coming up in just a little bit. And also some news that broke yesterday. Central DeWitt all-time leading scorer Lauren Walker, and honestly one of my favorite people, because she's been on the show twice already. She's coming on again today in the second hour to talk about her now new commitment to Northern Iowa. She had been committed to Lewis. She opened that recruitment up. She'll tell you why. And then also talk about her new commitment, Division I basketball, for the Sabres all-time leading scorer. So Lauren Walker in hour number 2 as well. So a lot to get to. If you missed yesterday's show, go check it out. Pat Angerer was talking about everything, dancing, singing Genie in a Bottle. A lot of good stuff from Pat Angerer as always. Also, we caught up with Rick Brown, Iowa sports writing legend, the 10-time Iowa Sports Writer of the Year, knows everything you need to know about golf, and then also covered Iowa basketball and football for 4 decades, basically. So got his thoughts on all of those things. So go check out Rick Brown. Really good stuff yesterday. And then also we had Thomas Smith, the Alleman baseball coach, on the show yesterday. We had him on the show, and then they won last night. So I just want to point out whenever I can, the off-the-air mojo is pretty good. The Wheelers are 4-0 in the season. We have Steam Wheeler Wednesdays every single Wednesday. So more good things happening to people that come on the show. But Thomas Smith talking about what's coming up tonight more than anything else. It's Military Appreciation Night for the Alleman baseball team. They're hosting Monmouth Roseville. If you're a service member, go there, get a hot dog, get a drink for free, watch the game. High school baseball at its finest. So check that out, and also check out Thomas's interview yesterday as well. So before we get to our first guest, some headlines around the Quad Cities or our area. Will Riley has officially declared for the NBA draft. Kasparis Yakachonis did the same thing yesterday. So now both Illinois standouts heading to the NBA. I think it's cool for the Illinois basketball program that they'll most likely hear 2 players get their names called in the first round of the NBA draft. That's a good thing. Will Riley really coming on late in the season, and now he's headed to the NBA, also leaves question marks because I don't think either were expected back. There was some hopes that Will maybe come back, but now I think it's kind of moving forward what that Illinois roster looks like. I'm going to try to catch up with maybe Ked Prince later this week and kind of touch base with that. Adam Miller, former Illinois standout who went to LSU, was at Arizona State last year. He's now back in the transfer portal, so could he come home? A lot of interesting headlines to be made this month when it comes to Illinois basketball, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Also last night, the WNBA draft, Lucy Olson drafted number 23 overall by the Mystics. So that makes the 3rd straight year that an Iowa player has been drafted, and I believe the 6th time in 7 years, the sixth season or 6th draft in 7 years that an Iowa player has been drafted. That's a big deal. To be a program that, if you go there and you do well, you're going to go to the next level is huge, especially when the WNBA, where opportunities aren't prevalent. There's not a ton of them each and every year. It's not like you get drafted and they'll get you on the roster and there's 32 teams and all that kind of stuff, or 30 teams or whatever it is in the NBA. The WNBA is much less than that. So cool to see Lucy Olson get that opportunity, and that's what it is. It's no guarantee. It's an opportunity to play in the WNBA. So congrats to her. Also, good news for the Iowa basketball program. Cooper Koch this morning officially announcing, I think his dad told Chad Leistico, good friend of ours from the Des Moines Register, that Cooper officially got that medical red shirt last year. So he'll have 4 years at the University of Iowa. We talked to Cooper last Monday, I believe. Maybe it was 2 Mondays ago. But go check out that interview. Good stuff with Cooper Koch. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe, and check out that interview as well. And then also, we mentioned Brendan Hausen going to the University of Iowa as well. So that is where we'll start today with some news and notes when it comes to the world of Iowa basketball and football as well. And joining me now, that face that, well, only a mother could love, Tom Kakert. How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
We got something to talk about, which is exciting to Iowa fans. Of course, the transfer portal season, portal combat, if you will, in full swing. And I know last time we talked last week, Iowa fans were getting a little anxious, a little antsy about what was going on. Obviously, Iowa
still are. They still are.
So one isn't enough. Let's talk about the one. Tell us who Iowa landed yesterday and what kind of basketball player that's coming to Iowa City.
We should start with over the weekend too. Trevian Urich, the big man from Valley, from Des Moines, was committed to UNI and flipped to Iowa. So that was a big get for them, literally. I mean, they needed to add some size, youth to the roster. I still think they're going to end up with Tate Sage, the kid from Oklahoma who was originally committed to Drake, but he has not like officially announced anything, but I believe he's going to come. He's 6'7" kid. But the big news was that fans have been waiting for is some portal combat from Iowa, and they were able to get Brendan Hausen, the shooting guard from Kansas State, originally from Amarillo, Texas. So a gunslinger from deep. He can dial it up from deep. 25 feet in is his range. So a good get. I think he's going to be a good combo. I was talking Monday night with Jamie Shaw, one of our national guys, and he thinks that that him combined with Sturtz is going to be a pretty fun starting backcourt for the Hawkeyes this year, just because of Brennan's ability to shoot from the outside, and I feel like he's going to get plenty of good looks from deep.
Can you fill us in on his journey to Iowa City? Because I believe I saw Villanova, and then he transferred to Kansas State. Kind of talk about his journey, and a journey that's not anything different than a lot of players this time of year when it comes to the transfer portal. But obviously going to Villanova at the time he was going to Villanova means that program liked him coming out of high school. And then to go to Kansas State, talk about that journey of getting to Iowa City.
Yeah, and I think I'd have to look back, but he may have been like a Jay Wright guy.
That's what I kind of thought.
There. So I think, but just you can't teach shooting. I mean, you can teach it, but you can't. Some guys just have that ability to knock down a shot from deep, and he's one of those guys that does. So that's always going to be an attractive trait. Averaged over 10 points a game this past year for that Kansas State team that was really, honestly, kind of disappointing. The Wildcats had with bringing over Coleman Hawkins and having a lot of high dollar guys that came to that program. It's interesting because I saw some lists, and they had a lot of high level schools kind of looking at him, but the rumors out of K-State right away were this kid's coming to Iowa, and they proved to end up being true, that he was coming to Iowa. And I think he and Sturtz are friends. It's interesting because Sturtz comes from a K-State family. So I think his girlfriend even goes to K-State. So just kind of an interesting sidelight to everything. But Iowa's, I think they're up to like 8 kids on the roster now. So they're slowly but surely kind of piecing things together. I believe Coach McCollum's probably going to end up around 12. So he's probably got some guys left. The Alvaro Figueres, the big kid from Spain who was from Robert Morris. He's a kid they're looking at. Duke Brennan from Grand Canyon, another big guy that they're looking at. They definitely want to add an experienced big man to the roster going into next season. So those two guys are in high demand. Also on campus this past weekend, Nick Lewis, a 4-star guard from the 2025 class. He's an intriguing player. He's visited Vanderbilt. I don't know what other visits he has planned, but obviously intriguing player. And I think we shared this last week, but I know we shared it on the message boards earlier in the week before it, quote unquote, got reported, I guess, that Navan Shabazz had reconfirmed his commitment. He had talked to Coach Sash and reconfirmed things. So he's a class of 2026 prospect, formerly from Davenport Assumption, now out at Iowa United Prep School in the Des Moines area.
Yeah, no, you look at the building of this roster, Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report joining us. And the shooting thing's the thing. We had Josh Sash on last week, and he brought it up a couple times. You've heard Ben McCollum talk about, scoring, not scoring as much as they're used to. They didn't have the shooters. I know that's something they identified, and we keep hearing a lot from this staff. How important is it that they're not just getting players, they're getting players that they can see slide right into that system and be really, really good?
Yeah, and the guys that they're bringing over from Drake, other than the Howard kid, not great shooters from the outside. So they knew that that was going to be a priority to bring in shooters. I think they'd probably want to bring in at least one, maybe two more shooters to round out this first roster, and then also some size. I think that's where their priorities are. Maybe kind of one of those players being a combo guard that can play some points. But I think Combs might be able to do some of that in his role to take some pressure off Bennett Sturts when he needs a break, or if he needs a break. But Sturts just never comes out of game. He plays like 40 minutes every game. So we'll see if he did that last year in the Valley. We'll see if he can do that in the Big Ten. It's going to be harder, but the big thing that they want to bring to the floor is they're going to play good defense and try to shorten the game a little bit, I think, in that first year as they adjust to the Big Ten.
Tom, I've had several people text or ask me over the last 24 hours, where's Iowa at with like their NIL? Because they landed a bigger fish when it comes to the Hausen kid. And then obviously Bennett Sturts isn't coming to Iowa for free, but where are they at? Is there any feel or know of like what Iowa is spending? And you have to feel with the amount of kids that are coming on campus that they definitely have more than last year, but they seem to be in a decent position. Do you know or have any judging of where they're at when it comes to what they're spending?
I don't have a lot of specifics. I do think it's probably more in the 4.5 to 5 million range, more than the 6.6. I saw my buddy Evan Miyakawa put out something today about it being 6.6, but that's just based on the algorithms like we have it on 3 that kick out a number of in terms of what their NIL should be for a player. And I know he's got a separate algorithm. I think it was working with Front Office Sports or something that kicks something up. But the thing I paid attention to is guys who talk to coaches and guys who kind of have the scoop. Like Jeff Goodman had a thing out that like 12 to 15 teams are spending $10 million on their roster. That's a lot of scratch. That's just Iowa's just not able to compete with that right now.
Well,
so
the topping
that's
kid,
going to be the toughest part of this right now is Iowa just does not have that extra money, and I think Ben McCollum's probably fortunate that he could get a good deal with Bennett Sturts, I'm assuming, because if Sturts went in the portal, he's probably getting $1.5–2 million pretty easily. If the Toppin kid's getting $4 million, I think Bennett would probably be doing pretty well. I'm sure they took care of him, but having said that, some of the other guys they've probably gotten on good deals, so they're able to spend a little bit more on some other guys.
A couple things. So that kind of makes you feel like they're being efficient, getting good deals. And so it's nice to see if that $6.6 million number's out there and they're paying 4.5, they're probably getting more bang for their buck, which is a good thing. They're doing something correctly. But it also goes back to kind of what we've talked a lot about, Tom, where it's, yes, we knew about the raise in the house money and all that kind of thing, but you have definitely seen, while the floor has raised up and Iowa's spending more money, that floor has risen and that ceiling really has risen. When you're looking at, if Iowa's spending 4.5 or 5 and the Toppin kid's getting that, they're back to where it was last year, where if
that's even more.
Go ahead.
It's even more right now because you've got the floor raised with everybody in college basketball. That 20.5 million is factored in, with probably 14.5, 15 going to football, 2.5, 3 going to basketball at most places. Some places a little more with basketball, a little less with football. Just depends on where you're at. But um, the big thing right now is that the house settlement is not finalized. So everybody is spending like it's the wild, wild west. They're like, a drunken sailor on shore leave. I mean, everybody's blowing through money right now because they can. So they're just hitting up all their donors and the collectives and everything, and they're just spend, spend, spend. And you're going to see that next week with college football because the spring portal opens up. You see it, Monday night. You saw some more guys. Cal's running back is going in the portal, and that's four-star player, really good running back, really good, and he's going to be in high demand. You saw what happened with Tennessee with Nico, and somebody's going to pay him more than Tennessee was going to pay him. I'll guarantee you somebody will do it because that's how things operate. I know everybody wants to say, well, we can get everybody to control themselves. We need to take a stand. Baloney. Somebody's going to pay him the money because they always do. There's somebody that's going to say, you know what, that guy could save my job. So we're going to spend on him. That's just the reality of where they're at. And the house settlement, I think they believe, the NCAA schools believe that that's going to create some sort of a cap because some of that outside money is going to count against the cap, the 20.5, if you're spending it that way. I'll believe it when I see it because those kids are going to be able to go out and make money in NIL, and they're going to have this clearinghouse that's going to raise their hand up and say, whoa, 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 Matt Randazzo can't pay Brock Harding $500,000 this year to come on twice a month and promote Texas Christian TCU basketball. He can't. That's not going to be possible because that's too much money. Well, Matt Randazzo can determine what fair market value is for what he wants to pay Brock Harding or whoever else. I mean, that's just how it is. Yeah. Fair market value is what somebody's willing to pay.
Yep.
End of discussion. It's just, that's the way it is.
And the thing is, the genie's out of the bottle, which I'm not going to make you sing, but like Pat did.
No, you already had somebody do that on Monday.
He did a great job with that.
That may be clipped up on a football broadcast this year.
It should be. It has to be. Yeah. But with that being said, like it is, and when it gets out, you're not going to go back. Once the money comes out, they're not going to be able to put regulations on it and stop it. So, like it's going to become, and the Nico stuff drives me crazy, Tom. Like it's one of those things. Like
I'm just warning people. It's going to be a bumpy week next week. You think the basketball portal is wild? Wait till football, because here's what's happened. And I don't think people realize this. Most programs have told all of their players what cut they're getting from the 14, 15 million that they're getting. And most schools are basing most of their spending on where you're at in the two deeps. If you're a starter, you're getting this. If you're a backup, you're getting this much money, so on and so forth. That's what most of the players, not every player, but most of them are getting a specific amount. So some of those guys that are backups are probably hearing from their agent saying, okay, well, you're only getting this much. If you go in the portal, you can go to this other place and they'll give you a starter's cut. Do you want to go in the portal? Sure, why not? Iowa's, I should mention, Iowa's getting a visit from Bryce George, a kid from Ferris State, offensive lineman. He's going to visit Cal, among other schools, a couple of schools. So Iowa's involved with him. I think they want to get some depth on their offensive line. They're a little dinged up there right now. Younger. I think they want an experienced guy to be kind of that extra guy and potential starter if they need it. So but I'm just warning people, if you think the basketball portal is wild, wait till next week. It's not going to be as wild as December. when the transfer portal goes nuts for football. But it's not going to be as quiet as it's been like last year. It was pretty quiet. Only Brendan Sullivan. We should mention Sully hit the portal. You
Yeah.
know, uh,
And
Iowa's starting quarterback second half of last year.
well, I think Pat hit the nail on the head on the show yesterday, where it's you got 1 year left, you gotta go play, and you have
Yeah, I
the
don't blame
opportunity.
him.
And if you're an Iowa fan, don't be frustrated. Be happy about the fact that he looked at the quarterback room and said, "All right, I'm not going to get the opportunity I want here." So that means the quarterback room's better than it was last year, if that makes any sense. So he moves on.
Yeah,
I think
he-
Iowa
he
fans
knows-
wish him the best.
He knows Mark Gronowski's going to start, and he was probably getting pushed by Hank Brown. That's my guess.
You're on the Hank tank, aren't you?
I am.
Is that a thing now?
I am.
Is it the Hank tank? Can we call it that?
We can call it that if you in the tank for Hank.
I guess. Tank for Hank. I don't know,
Yeah.
but and you're not alone. I've read several
No, tanking.
people.
No, tanking would be like playing bad. And,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we don't tank. We're not lions.
Take it easy. Tom Kakert joining us. A few more things for you before we let you go. Lucy Olson gets drafted in the WNBA draft. I think 23 overall to Washington.
Yep.
A couple things. One, it's great to see another Iowa player drafted. Last year, of course, there was two, and there's been several in the past. But it's no guarantee that just because you're drafted in the second round, and people around the Quad Cities know. I want to say Bree Beal was probably drafted right around that position as well.
And she got cut.
Yeah, and she didn't make the roster. So not that she's and I remember last year thinking, because I was hoping that I could get Kate Martin to come to my dad's golf outing. And I'm like, well, we'll see if she makes the team, but if not, she'll probably be available. I mean, it was no sure thing that Kate made the team. Obviously, she played great when she got to camp and proved it, and doing so for the defending champions. So just kind of talk about, one, it's great to see Lucy get that call. What a crazy year. Villanova to Iowa to the NBA draft, now to the Mystics. But two, it's tough. I'm not saying she's not going to do it, but the competition in the WNBA is pretty stiff with the limited amount of teams.
Yeah, it's a limited amount of teams, and there's usually only one roster spot left, and that's usually for the first round pick is usually the only one that kind of feels like they're guaranteed to make the roster, unless there's some injuries. That's what helped Kate last year, was there were some players who were injured and couldn't start the season, and then she got in there and she was like, they're like, wow, okay, she's pretty good. And now she's I think in a much better position with the Golden State franchise, or I don't know what they're, San Francisco Valkyrie or whatever they're calling themselves. The Valkyrie, I know, is the handle. So, but that's great that she's gonna have an opportunity, and hopefully Lucy. I don't know what the Mystics roster it looks like, but hopefully she'll get a chance to make the team and stick with the team and be able to earn a living playing in professional basketball. That'd be awesome to have another Iowa player in the W.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, Tom. I know my WNBA. I just don't know the free agency and what happened. I'm trying to see how she fits in with the Mystics, because I'm not even joking. I know my WNBA basketball, but hopefully she can continue to make that team and do big things. Like you said, great to see another Iowa basketball player. One other quick note from the women's side of things, and Kyle's usually my women's expert, so I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I know you and Kyle lets you in on all the great information that he gets. To see Elia Guyton go to Illinois, I think that was kind of a no-brainer. Not a
I think
no-brainer,
I said
but we
that
saw
right
coming.
away.
Yeah.
I think I said that right away. I was like, oh boy, she's probably going to end up at Illinois. Just because they had so many injuries at guard last year, and I think they want some depth, and just made some sense. So that'll be awkward. The Iowa-Illinois game. I'm still not sure what they were doing. So Iowa is still on the search for a point guard. So we'll see if they can land somebody here very soon. There was a player in this past weekend, and I need to look up that player's name. Elena Aristonio. She is from UCLA, and she was in this past weekend for an official visit, and we haven't heard anything about a commitment or anything of that nature. So we'll just wait and see what surfaces. That's one of the challenging things about reporting on the portal stuff is these portal kids don't talk. Their agents sometimes talk, but not often, and it's hard to track down an agent to get a kid to talk. So basically, information is really hard to come by. So doing the best we can right now, trying to dig and find out and get some accurate information out to Iowa fans.
Last one for you, Tommy. We are, what are we, over 2 weeks into the Ben McCullum era? I don't want to ask you to grade them because it's incomplete and all that kind of stuff, but I feel they've done a really good job in 2 weeks of building something that you can see for the future when it comes to next year and beyond. Kind of talk about that because we're only 2 weeks in, and I think he's hit the ground running when it comes to rebuilding a roster. Obviously, he had to do the same thing at Drake last year, so he's got some experience doing it. But staff looks good. I think he hit some home runs on the staff as well. He landed his first transfer. I think things are going well for Ben McCullum. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he's being very just kind of measured in how he's operating. He's not just flying off the handle and saying, I got to fill this roster out. Let's get this done today. That is how Iowa fans or some portion of Iowa fans would rather see it go because they just don't have any patience. But I think if they show some patience, you'll see. I look back at what he did at Drake and when he announced signings for all these different players, and it took him about a month and a half to kind of fill that roster out. So I think it's going to take a little time, but I think he'll get there. I think he's got a good idea of what he wants. I think it's kind of the same methodology, if that's the right word, that he used last time, where he brought some of the Northwest Missouri State kids with him. This time he's bringing some of the Drake guys with him. Just bringing familiar people to help build that culture and bring that culture with them and establish that in Iowa City. And they're good players too. I mean, it's not like these guys were part of a 31-win team. So is that going to mean they're going to win 31 games in the Big Ten? Probably not. I'll go out on a limb and say they probably don't. If they do, he's National Coach of the Year, and Iowa made one of the greatest hires in school history. But it's going to take some time to fill this roster out. But I think he's on the right path. The challenge is, somebody said, well, I wonder about Ben as a recruiter. I got news for people. Recruiting, like the traditional way that you and I grew up on, of
develop relationships
with parents and kids and their coaches and their AAU coaches and everything. It's out the door. It's a transaction for the most part now. For a lot of these kids, it's like, how much money can I wave in your eyes and in front of your eyes and persuade you to come play for me? That's kind of it's a financial decision as much as it is a style of basketball or a basketball fit decision.
Now, Tommy, you mentioned, and we'll point out, Fran did a good job with the developing relationships thing, and I saw TJ Power, a highly recruited player that Iowa was hoping to get, and he went to Virginia, maybe someplace else you probably know, but mainly he's going to Penn now, and Fran's going to do okay at Penn. He's going to be okay. I think he's going to do some really good things at Penn before all's said and done.
Fran's a really good basketball coach. I know people soured on him, but he is still a really good basketball coach with a very good eye for talent.
Absolutely. Real quick, plug the podcast that you just did, because you got a chance to sit down for about 45 minutes with Peyton Sanford, and just about his senior season, the injuries, moving forward, his brother. Kind of pub that. How can people go check it out? Because I listened to it on Monday, and it was really, really good, Tommy. And I don't like to give you compliments very often.
Don't give me any compliments. It's all Peyton. That's
true.
It's just nice of Peyton that he's as he said, I'm not doing a whole lot right now because he's just had his shoulder surgically repaired, and he's going to have the other one surgically repaired in a couple of weeks. So his golf playing is kind of done. We joked about his round at Deer Run before he just had the surgery, where he said it was the windiest day in history, and he shot an 85, and he wasn't too pleased about it. But he squeezed another round in the next day and shot a 72 out in his home course in Des Moines. So I think he felt better about that. But we touched on a lot of the injuries, the things I didn't know about. Like a couple of years ago, remember when he had that really bad shooting slump and he couldn't make a shot? He revealed on the pod that he had a broken foot or something broken in his foot, and he was playing through it. I mean, kid played through a lot of injuries, and we talked about those things and just how he tried to lead and just everything that he went through this past year. And it was he talked about Price making his decision, and just in the locker room at the end of that, after that Illinois game, which was I said that on here. I think it was like you just walked in on a group of people that just learned that a dear loved one had died, and everybody was in tears, just grieving in that moment. And I felt so uncomfortable in that room at that moment because of the sadness that was just coming out of each and every player and coach that was in that room at that time.
Yeah, no, it was a good interview. So anybody that you're downloading this or you listen to this, just go to the same format. Just put in Hawkeye Report podcast and check it out. It's a really good listen.
It's on Spotify and Apple.
Yeah, you name it.
Yeah, it's on
just go
Spotify
check it
and
out.
Apple, and yeah,
it's good stuff. So, Well, Tommy, I appreciate it. And the next time I talk to you, unless there's a huge commitment, later today, which is usually the way it works.
News.
We're gonna be talking wrestling. It's WrestleMania week, baby.
Yeah.
Don't get too excited, Tom. They put the ones up, absolutely. So, all right, Tommy, we'll talk to you and we'll talk wrestling later this week. I appreciate you.
Yeet.
That's the social media clip for the day. All right, that was Tom Kakert. Oh, God bless him. Between him and anger, it's been gold this week already. So we got a lot more to get to here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Coming up next, I know high school football season is a ways away, but we got a little news yesterday that I was excited about. Week 2 of the high school football season will feature a matchup between Iowa and Illinois schools. It'll be Assumption heading out to Geneseo to take on the Maple Leafs, and it's a really cool thing. So joining me next will be Nate Gilbraith, the head coach of Assumption, and Geneseo's Matt Furlong on Assumption product, kind of talking about how this all came together and what will be a pretty fun Friday night coming up week 2 of the high school football season. All that. And Lauren Walker coming up in a little bit on her new commitment to Northern Iowa. We got a jam-packed Tuesday right here on Off the Air. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings. The biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese? Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Hey, Quad City parents, tired of the same old weekend routine? Well, listen up. Saturday night, April 26th, it's free youth jersey night with your Quad City Steamwheelers. The first 500 kids 12 and under score a free official Steamwheelers jersey just for showing up. That's right, free gear, big plays, and non-stop family fun. It's IFL football action and memories that'll last a lifetime. Grab your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets and make it a night your kids won't forget. Presented by Crawford Company.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Please join us April 24th through May 3rd online for the 28th annual Chuck Long Charity Auction presented by Atlantic Bottling Company. This year's event features over 200 amazing items. The more bidders we have, yay, the more money we'll raise for life-altering therapy for kids in need right here in the Quad Cities. So please bid high and bid often. Brought to you by these sponsors. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Tuesday here in the Quad Cities. I know we've been talking a lot of basketball and some baseball these days, but and other sports, but football will be here before you know it. Of course, you got the NFL draft coming up in about a week and a half, but high school football gets rolling before you know it, and it's kind of like the NFL where people get excited about schedules as well, and some schedules have been released, and I'm really excited because I've been a proponent of the Iowa side and the Illinois side playing each other, and that's going to happen this upcoming fall. We're joined now by Geneseo head coach Matt Furlong and Nate Gilbraith, the head coach over at Assumption, and it has been announced week 2, it'll be Assumption and Geneseo going head-to-head. I believe week 2, correct?
Yep.
Week 2. So I'm going to start with you, Coach Furlong, because this has got to be kind of special for you. You're an Assumption grad, so to have those helmets, that uniform, that program coming out and coming to Geneseo, that's got to be great for you because, of course, I'm sure you have fond memories of being a Knight.
Absolutely. Obviously I went to high school there and have great memories of it. All my siblings went through there. My dad coached baseball there for a long time. So a lot of connections just through that side of things. And that's continued, knowing a lot of the guys on the staff and that. So, looking forward to, as you said, getting the Iowa, Illinois side of things going again. For me, that was a big thing. I thought, the opportunity to do that was going to be fun. And glad we were able to make it work. Especially it was couple tense points there at some times, but we're able to get it done here.
Gilly, kind of talk about that because I've been a proponent for it for years. In fact, I go as far as saying, you have the Iowa-Illinois basketball shootout. You could do something where it's Friday night and Saturdays. You could have 7 matchups between Iowa and Illinois schools. I don't know the logistics, and I know it sounds like this one was hard enough to get, so I probably shouldn't put too much into expecting more. But Gilly, kind of take me through how this all comes about because I absolutely love seeing the Iowa and Illinois side going head-to-head.
Well, it started back in July after a 7-on-7. I texted Coach Furlong. It's like, hey, Like, our schedules are up to the year. We should play each other. Would you be down for that? And he said, absolutely. So that kind of started that slow process. Now, it from the end of the season, November, all the way till the first week of March, we have to wait until our districts are released. After that's done, we have to create a 7-man list of schools we would like to play throughout the state of Iowa or anyone in general. And so instead of putting Geneseo at the top of our list, we had to put Sioux City West at the top of our list. And then we put the 6 other schools we wanted to play. So the nice part was the state said, yes, that'll be good. Sioux City West has also played someone out of state. So therefore, that pairs well week 2 for you guys to play Geneseo. So that set us up pretty nicely. But you just get fingers crossed. You hope that Sioux City West pulls through. We thought maybe another Iowa school is going to pull through and play another Illinois school. That didn't work out. But so that got really intense. I was like, man, I feel terrible if this doesn't work out, man. But thankfully it did work out. And they got a week 2 game because we were always going to get a week 2 game. It's the Illinois schools that get screwed over in the end. But the Iowa Sports Association, Coach King, Coach Nichols at Geneseo, and Matt Furlong got it. We all were patient and got it figured out in the end. So I'm excited for this game.
Gilly, you look at it and you have plenty of knowledge of the Western Big Six, being at Moline and at Alleman in the past. It's familiar for you, and you know the quality of football in the Western Big Six. Kind of talk about yourself kind of getting to get back in the conference for at least one game next year, and some familiar faces over there for you as well.
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of the game, you better get there on time because it's going to be Western Big Six type football. We're going to run the football, and the game's probably going to be 90 minutes to 2 hours at most. So if you're not there on time, you're going to miss half of it. I just kind of think back to these Big Six matchups from when I was a player to coach. I mean, if you don't stop the run, it's going to be a long game. And Geneseo runs the ball. They've always have been a really efficient, fundamentally sound football team. But at the same time, Assumption's been an efficient, sound, fundamentally sound football team that runs the football. One of our coaches this year was Mark Kazmarek. This will be his 50th year of coaching high school football. And the guy will die by the wing tee. And so this game is like a dream come true for a guy like him. Coach Derrick's a former Geneseo head coach. They absolutely love that this is going to be a big-time football game on a week 2 Friday night where 2 teams are going to be under center just running at each other. Just bloods and bruises all over tonight. So it's going to be a great time.
I love it. Coach Gilbraith and Coach Furlong joining me right now. It is going to be Geneseo and Assumption week 2. And Coach Furlong, you look at it and he mentioned some names, and you mentioned you still have some familiarity over at Assumption. And that's what probably makes the program special, is because you have some familiarity, and it's been such a long-lasting program. Kind of talk about that, because there are still some familiar faces from, I don't want to age you, Coach, but there's some gray in that beard these days. It wasn't yesterday when you were playing.
No doubt. Yeah, back in, graduated in 2000. So Coach Kaz was still the head coach. Coach Keene was the defensive coordinator. So came up with those guys as my head coaches and coordinator, and just having them still there obviously makes it special. And a lot of those other connections that exist with it. So certainly that flavor means a lot. I'll be excited to see them and a lot of other people, and I just know kind of since this was in the works, talking to a lot of people, around the Quad Cities, people are excited for it. And I think, trying to find ways to make this work, and coaches being willing to, play good competition. I think, part of it for me was trying to get some of these rivalries going again. We had played some Chicago teams and some of that, and trying to get closer games is always nice. And then kind of trying to find some of those rivalries. So we're going to have Rochelle again week 1 and Davenport Assumption here week 2. And, I'm excited, because of the family connection and all that, but just to play a good quality program, that's close, that's in the area. I knew Nate while he was at Moline, and have a lot of respect for their staff and what he did while he was there with them and what they got going at Assumption. So, a lot of reasons to do this, and I'm excited it worked out.
Gilly, you look at it, kind of piggyback off that, because I'll look at week 2, and I did it for 24 years or whatever it was. So I'm a master at putting schedules together and knowing where to get to and what games to get to. And there's some times week 1 is so exciting because it's the opener for everybody and everybody's excited to play no matter who. But there's times you look ahead to week 2 and you're like, man, I can't wait for districts to start, or I can't wait for, conference play to start in the Western Big Six. There's going to be a lot of people, Gilly, that circle this game week 2 as 2 traditional programs going head to head and something you don't normally get to see. That's got to be exciting as well.
I think for our group of going to be seniors, something they want to have happen this year, they want to be challenged week in and week out. They don't want to take any of their opponents for granted, but they want to be going up against the best every week. So week 0, we're going to play Moline for our scrimmage. Week 1, we're playing a state powerhouse in Solon. Week 2, playing a traditional state powerhouse in Geneseo. So like these first 3 weeks from just a scrimmage to our first 2 games, I mean, we're going to be challenged for sure. And I think our kids want that. They crave competition. They're in the weight room every single day getting after it, 40 plus, almost too many kids for our weight room. But just the idea of just going into a town that, I mean, I know they live on the Iowa side. It's only 20 minutes away, but a lot of them have never been to Geneseo, it feels like. So taking them to a town like Geneseo, showing them like this is a football community. Every town's and everyone in their town, their shops are going to be closed. They're going to be at that stadium packing it. And they're going to come out and listen to the song Thunderstruck, and we're going to prevent them from ringing that bell at the end of the day. But it's going to be an exciting atmosphere. Experiencing it as a coach, I mean, it's a special place to go play the game. And then when they come to us at Jack and Pat Bush Stadium, they're gonna feel what it's like to be around a bunch of nights. But it's gonna be good competition, but friendly competition for sure.
Gilly with a little jab there in the middle of a good answer. I appreciate that. It's only April, boys. It's only April. Let's slow down. Talk, Gilly, real quick on that too, because you've been to Bob Reed Field. You know the environment. And I don't think, during COVID, and I hate to even think about the during COVID days, but I did a stadiums series because I needed to keep a job. So I needed to come up, and it was a ton of fun to do. We ranked the stadiums, and it was Rocky, I think maybe Roscoe Eads, and then Bob Reed Field out of everything. And that could be argued either way. Bob Reed Field got plenty of first place votes. I think we had 25 people on the panel. But you've been out to Bob Reed Field, Gilly. You're right. It's not cliche. The town shuts down. The lights are on. And, it's such a beautiful stadium. That bell is over there kind of staring at you if you're an opponent. But talk about that, because your kids get to experience something that they haven't gotten to ever do, and that's cool as well.
I mean, if this team wants to do big things this year, we have to play in high-intensity environments. So I think something that's in our favor before we go to Geneseo is going to a town like Solon. Solon is just like Geneseo. They pack the house. Everything's shut down. I mean, people are watching the game from their front yards right across the street from the stadium. So I think we're going to get that type of atmosphere, but then we're going to go right back into it again and face the fire playing Geneseo. And so, those type of environments are fun. They shouldn't be something that the kids should be scared of or nervous about. This is one of those moments where, hey, I played in a packed house at Bob Reed Field, and it was standing room only. I felt claustrophobic. The fans were loud on both sides. And I think those are fun moments as a player, even as a coach. And those will be memories that they'll have for the rest of their lives. So I think it's going to be great competition. It's going to be a great game, but the atmosphere at that stadium. And they also have some great pork chops, by the way. I will say that. Nice pregame snack for us before we get out there and coach. But they got a lot of things going on out there. And I think Matt's in a special place right now.
Coach Gilbraith and Coach Furlong joining us right now. It's Geneseo and Assumption week 2. Both of you guys are second-year head coaches at your schools. Kind of talk about that, Coach Furlong, because the year ones are always, I don't want to say funky, but there's always a learning process and getting to know people and getting systems in and all that kind of stuff. What's the difference for you year 1, year 2 when it comes? I know we're not there yet, but we're getting there when it comes to familiarity and getting this team ready to what you want to do each and every fall.
Yeah, I mean, for year 1 was really a lot of learning. Coming into it for me, having been up in the Chicago area for over 20 years, around 20 years, and then coming back down was just kind of refamiliarizing myself with a lot of things. And we mentioned this, but both of us are taking over good programs with good history, and part of that is figuring out like what needs to stay, because obviously they had done a lot of things well. But a big part of that first year too, I think, is putting your mark on things, is what you want things to look like moving forward. So for me, that was a big part of it, is just trying to establish, what my expectations were, what my standards were going to be, what type of team and program I wanted to see us be moving forward. Fortunately, a lot of what I wanted it to do matched with what was already going on there. So that helped with the tradition or the transition for sure. So really year 2 is now about starting to kind of tweak some of those things. I'm looking forward to having a summer where it's not starting from page 1 of the playbook and the drill book and all those things, and kids coming back with some familiarity to things. So I think, kind of making that transition is we're kind of really wrapping up the first year of stuff now and getting into the summer with year 2 is, kind of learning from that first year and what went well and things we may want to tweak and things to continue to build on. So, I'm excited. We got a good group coming back, a good community, good fan base, a lot of support. So, very happy with things as far as where we're at right now.
As you're talking from year 1 to year 2, Gilly is a bobblehead down there, kind of just shaking his head, because I think you agree with a lot of what he says. Coach Furlong wasn't a first-time head coach. Kind of talk about it for you, because maybe a stiffer learning curve because it was your first head coaching job. What's year 2 look like for Assumption? I know you're really excited about numbers, culture, the things that you've seen grow since year 1.
I think I've been pretty blessed being around a lot of experienced head coaches or coordinators my entire career. When I was at Allman, Moline, and even at Assumption, having Coach King and Coach Kaz one on staff, one as my administrator, just to lean on whenever I need a little bit of help. But the biggest thing is like I had a little bit of that young guy mentality. I ask for help, and then I usually just ignore what they say, and I kind of do my own thing. Every once in a while, I have to come back and tell them, like, no, you were right. And I have to. The old way does still work, but there are some new things I have to do. The biggest thing is for me is I'm in building. When you're not in building, it feels absolutely miserable. You can't hunt kids down the hallway. Why are you not at weights? Why are you not at open field installs? What are your grades like? You feel like you're leaning on a lot of secondhand information at playing a game of telephone with coaches or teachers or administrators. Me being in a building, I think has been the biggest change, just being around the kids on a daily basis. The next thing is the weight room. And the thing after that is just kids are excited about being an Assumption football player. We're going to have close to over about 90 kids in the program, 3 levels. There's a lot of buzz going around our program for kids who want to put on the flying A on their helmets, the white helmets, and wear the reds and the black combos of whatever jersey we want to wear that night, or the white jerseys. We do a features camp. We have about 40 plus kids doing that right now, coming up here in a week. I mean, there's a lot of buzz about going from becoming a Rising Knight to an Assumption football player, and then kids who have never even thought about playing football to actually being bought in football players now a year later. It's exciting just to see kids from year 1 to year 2 just change physically, emotionally, and the relationships that I've built are going to be pretty long lasting, because I've become pretty close with majority of the kids at our school and on our team. And it's going to be hard saying bye to some of those seniors and restarting all over again the year afterwards. So year 2's got a special place, I think.
Absolutely. A few more for you guys before I let you go. Coach Furlong, you're going to see a program that you played for, and I think you mentioned 2000 graduate, and I'm trying to do the math. I think I started covering it. I was an intern for Dan Pearson, I think your senior year, back at the Highlight Zone. What are the memories that will come to your head as you prepare for week 2? Probably not now, but when you get there and you see that uniform and all that kind of stuff, what are some of the memories? Because high school football is special, and I'm sure you have specific memories that might come back to your head of playing and wearing that Assumption uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate mentioned the flying A there on the helmets, and the uniforms, and that's certainly something, you kind of reflect back on and think about and sticks with you. But as he was also saying there, a lot of it is just the relationships that you build over time. Like they're starting with the Rising Knights and working your way up, and still have friends from those days that I talk to on a regular basis and stay in contact with. And I think football is a special thing, and when you go through, battles like that, you build those bonds with people. And, I think back to those days with the rivalries we had with, Bettendorf and Pleasant Valley and North Scott, and what those games were like and what those competitions were like. And, I think a big part of what Nate and I are trying to do with this is create that for ourselves too, and create those non-conference and non-district games where you continue to challenge your kids and create those rivalries. Because that's, at the end of the day, those are the things I always think back to. You don't remember the blowouts one way or another, right? You remember those tight games, those rivalry games, those competitions that, you had to go through it with your teammates on. So I think, what we're trying to do here is reflective of that, and we're both trying to build and continue programs that have had those good things. As Nate was talking about there, and, I got a second grader, and we're doing a lot of the same stuff. We just got done with a spring camp for the young kids and trying to get them excited about football in Geneseo and keep that momentum going here going forward. So, I think having games like this is a big part of that.
All right, last one for you guys, and it's to both of you. Well, Gilly, I guess we'll go first. How do we make this happen more? Is it because you've been through it and you accomplished it? You're like, there's no way. Because I can think back, and you can guys, Gilly would probably know more. I want to say there was several games planned for the season that got knocked out by COVID. I want to say like PV was going to play Moline, and West was going to play somebody, and Sterling was going to come down and play somebody. And that got knocked out by COVID. Is it, now that you've survived and you've got it for 2 years, is it realistic that we do this more often, or are there still big hurdles that we got to figure out before we get to that point?
I think from the Iowa perspective, we just need a lot of our Quad City side schools to coordinate this together, because every 2 years our schedules get re-upped. And if we get the right amount of numbers of teams that want to actually go across the river and play the Molines, the Rock Islands, the UTs, the Geneseos of the world, it has to be aligned just right, perfectly. Otherwise, if we get an odd number and leave one of the high schools out, that's where it becomes a little tricky, because it has to be that perfect evenly number. A team needs a team almost to replace each other if they don't have a week 2 game or a week 1 game per se. And I don't know how tricky that gets for us in the state of Iowa, because with the Big Six schools, they only have those 2 weeks available versus we have 4 weeks of non-district type play. So, but it will take a lot of coordination on the Iowa side, I feel. And then the one of the Illinois schools wanting to do it. I know Coach Morrissey at Moline really wants to play Iowa schools. He's always asking. But Coach Furlong doing that, hopefully Coach Welch and Coach Fritz, and eventually maybe Coach Smallbach will also want to play Iowa schools. And I think, man, going to like an Augie, a Brady Street, having a 2-day state championship like atmosphere on a Friday and a Saturday, 4 games each day. I mean, I know that's asking for a lot of games, but in terms of making money, that'd make a lot of money, but it'd also be really good media and promote Quad City football to its best extent. And I think it would end a lot of trash talking, which side's better, Iowa or Illinois, because I know those Illinois guys, they really think Illinois football is the real deal. But I was pretty big on this side too for football. That's no joke.
It's funny, Gilly, you mentioned that because you did 8 games. Let's maybe do 4 first. Maybe 2 on a Friday night, start 1 at 5, start 1 at 7:30, and then maybe a couple on. But I think you can get to 6 easily. Do a couple on Friday night and a couple on, and maybe do 4 on Saturday and fill it up. For you guys over on the Illinois side, Coach Furlong, it's probably about rolling the dice a little bit too, because the way their schedules come out and stuff. If it gets shot down, then you're maybe left scrambling, and then things get a little funky on that side as well.
Yeah, I would say it probably comes down to 2 things that really work off of one another. One would be the uncertainty with just figuring out if it'll work for the Iowa team, if it'll match up with what the state decides schedule-wise. I think the second part of it that it gets into a little bit is, with teams trying to chase wins and some of that maybe, and find those there. But like I said, I think, and Nate mentioned this, like playing good competition is how you build a program, is how you get competitive year in and year out, is getting used to being in those environments, competing in those environments. And that's what helps things, and is what fun is, what makes football memorable. So I'm excited about things and hope they continue to work here moving forward. I get on the Illinois side some of the reservation with having to wait schedule wise, because I know like if this didn't work, we had like Loyola is open week 2, which
they're always open. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how they're always open?
Yeah, it's weird. But I think if you talk it through like we did, we felt pretty confident there by the end that things were going to work, and if not, then it doesn't, and you learn, and you can always find a game somewhere. It's just a matter of where you're going to go. But I think the coach is buying into the idea, and hopefully, these next 2 years we have some good games and it brings some good energy to that Quad City flavor of things, and we can get some other teams involved.
I love it. Let's make this happen. I'll push for it. I'll be the microphone for it. We'll make it happen some way, somehow. Gilly, I think what he's saying is that you guys aren't going to be as good as Loyola next year. That's an insult maybe in itself. Okay. That's bulletin board material too.
There we go.
I'll put that up in the locker room.
Yeah, 8A team. Ask Coach Welch. I think he had to go up there a few years ago and play them, maybe last year, but that's no fun to go up there and play that 8A school. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys doing this. I'm always up. It can be April, it can be August, it can be September. I am always up to talking high school football. I appreciate you guys doing this. Week 2, it's Assumption at Geneseo, and then the year following, it'll be Geneseo coming to Assumption. Best of luck to both of you, and let's hope the trash talk continues. It was it was pretty good here in April. Let's see if it can continue throughout the summer. Behave yourself, Gilly, okay?
I'm sorry.
You're good. Guys, I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
All right. That is Coach Furlong and Coach Gilbraith talking high school football, because these two programs will hook up. Really cool. 2 long-storied traditional powerhouses, week 2 of the high school football season. We got much more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Tuesday here in the Quad Cities. Of course, basketball season has wrapped up, but there's always news when it comes to the off season, especially in the world of college basketball. And there's a young lady that has found herself a new home before she even got to her old one. And we're joined now by Central DeWitt standout Lauren Walker. Lauren, first and foremost, thank you so much for doing this. This is your third time on my goofy show. That's impressive in 3 months.
I'm so excited. It's so fun. I love it.
I love to hear that. Exciting news for you. Last time we talked to you and throughout the season, you were committed to Lewis University. They had a coaching change and you get to kind of reevaluate. And now you're a Northern Iowa Panther. Division I basketball is in your future. Before we talk about how you got to all that, when you hear that and you know you're heading to Northern Iowa, you're smiling from ear to ear. How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm just so excited to have this opportunity. Obviously, as a little girl, it was always my dream to play college basketball, but especially, at the highest level, Division I. So just now, finally getting to have this opportunity, I just couldn't be more happy. So
you look at the situation and obviously a coaching change where you were going. Take me through this process and how it all went down and how you ended up getting to Cedar Falls and playing for the Panthers.
Yeah, so basically right after spring break, I got a text from my Lewis head coach that said that she had accepted a new job, which is super good for her. She deserves it. She's an amazing coach. So then I had to kind of reevaluate some things and look at it. Obviously, I did love Lewis for other reasons, but the coaching is just such a big part of that. And now there's a lot of unknown there, they haven't hired a coach quite yet. So I kind of looked at that and then looked at the season that I had and was like, hey, there could be opportunities somewhere else. So I did decide to reopen my recruitment. And right away, me and my dad just reached out to a few schools and just said, hey, this is Lauren's situation. Would you be interested? And you and I got back really fast, which was amazing. We were like, oh, maybe something could happen here. So then I ended up talking to Coach Oakland, one of the assistants, and had a really great conversation with him. Went on a visit last week on Wednesday. Absolutely loved it. Loved the coaches. Loved the girls that I met with and knew that's where I wanted to go. So I never actually really posted it on social media. They had reopened my recruitment just because my UNI visit went so well. I knew that's where I wanted to be. So then I committed Friday morning.
How gratifying is that? Not that, you reopen up and you send some stuff out, and that's got to be gratifying and reassuring that you're a pretty talented basketball player. Kind of talk about that thought process, because to get that type of response had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, as soon as my dad forwarded me the email that he got back from that, I was like, oh my gosh, and they responded pretty fast too. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. That really assures my confidence that it's going to take a lot of work, but I can definitely play at this level and have success. And so I think I was just so thankful and so blessed that this is how it all worked out, and God had a really good plan here. So it was just really exciting.
Throughout the season, and I kind of told you this before we started, but always watching you play or talking to you, I had in the back of my mind, like Lewis is a good university, but she's a Division I basketball player. Did you think that as well? MAC Player of the Year this year in that conference with those players that are there, I felt like D1 was the level that you could be at. Did you ever think about that yourself?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. But yeah, I think in the past few years too, I kind of always had that in the back of my head. But I don't know if I truly honestly believed it. But after the work I put in before the season and how my season went, I truly believe that I can play at the highest level and I can put in the work and compete with the best girls and the best teams. So I think that was part of my decision too, to reopen my recruitment. Just I knew that I could play at the Division I level. So now getting the opportunity is amazing.
Take me through that visit, and you talked about the coaches, the girls, but talk about the environment and what made you know. When did you know going up to Cedar Falls that was it love at first sight? Was it this is the thing, or kind of take me through that visit a little bit?
Yeah, so we got there and met with the coaches and just kind of walked around all the athletic facilities, and I loved it, all really nice. And then kind of sat down for lunch and really sat down with all the coaches, and right there I was just I love these coaches. I love how they carry themselves. They really have a big family atmosphere at UNI, and the coaches have created that. And that's something that I really want to be a part of. For me, it's a 4-year commitment. I want to be there for 4 years, and you never know what's going to happen. But that's just the environment that those coaches have created. And they also really like to take Iowa girls and kind of develop them, which I think is really awesome too. So the coaches are just such a big part of that. And then also the community around them, it's a nice, fun college town. And coming from DeWitt, I've had all this amazing community support. So I'm really excited for it there at UNI too, because I can see it. And talking with the girls too, they all say it's really great there. So that was obviously another big part, just because I'm so used to that. And then they have really good academic-wise. They have people that are there helping you along the way, because obviously it's a huge load, but they have people that are specific for the basketball team and the athletes, because that's a really big part too. And that's a part that the coaches also made known to academics. That's why you're here for college. So I think just all those things combined it. And then, but really just sitting down with the coaches, and then I had our conversation at the end with them. I was yeah, this is really where I want to be. I got to give it a day or two just to make sure. But I just knew the coaches are such a big part of it. So
absolutely. Lauren Walker, the Central DeWitt standout, now future Northern Iowa Panther, joining us on the show. Lauren, you look at it and it's one of those things where when I see you commit and I know where you're going, I immediately, because I'm an old man, think of the other players that have gone there. I immediately think of the Carly Ruckers and the Grace Buffellis and the legacy they've left and the impact they had on that program. Does that influence you at all? Or obviously you know the history of that little area, just a little south, but even the Quad City area in general, and going to Northern Iowa and having success, that has to help a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something we definitely thought about too. And that goes along with the coaches. They say that they really want to take these Iowa kids and develop them. And I've gotten to see that firsthand. I've gotten to see that from girls around the area that are playing. So I just think that that's really cool. Definitely develops the Iowa kids, which is so cool.
You had a special senior season. During the season, it's hard to focus or look back at it because you're still playing, you're still going. Have you had a chance to reflect back on what you got to experience as a senior in that community? And you always mention that community so fondly. Have you got a chance to reflect a little bit on the things that you got to do your senior year, both as a team, and then obviously the record's pretty special as well?
Yeah, for sure. I feel definitely in the past week or two, it's kind of been hitting hard that it's over, which has been a little hard just because the season goes by so fast and then it's over. But the last few weeks, we've been kind of getting stuff ready for, graduation party, and looking back on all the pictures and all the memories. It's just wow, this place is so special to me. And just the career that I've had has been amazing. I couldn't ask for a better one. And so definitely it's been really special looking back, and a little sad, because it's over, but bright things ahead. So, and I still have my Sabre community, posting my commitment yesterday. I mean, my phone was blowing up. All the social media apps were blowing up just with how excited people were. And I know there's going to be people at games all the time making the trip down to Cedar Falls. So
Yeah, no, mate, that makes things so special. Great area up there in DeWitt. Got some fun questions for you. And it's funny because I got my go-to questions when it comes to my rapid fire, and you've been on so often that I'm worried that I'm going to repeat one. So I was doing some homework before the show a little bit, but do you have this kind of goes with what we just talked about, a most memorable moment when it comes to playing basketball at Central DeWitt High School? Is there one moment that stands out above all the others?
Yeah, I would say one of my most favorite moments would obviously breaking the record, but after we beat Clear Creek Amanda to go to state, just the joy, because this is something that we have all dreamed of, like with our group and with especially like Kinley and Ava, like we have worked so hard for that. So just to have that special moment with them, like I constantly replay that in my head. Like I can tell you everything that happened. That's probably definitely one of my favorite moments.
If you're working out or getting ready for a game, do you have a go-to song? Do you have a go-to music where you have a playlist, and you young kids have those playlists and all that kind of stuff? What's the music that you listen to before a workout or a game?
Yes, so definitely I love country. Like I listen to a lot of country, and I'm not a big like rap girl or like hip hop. So it's a mix of country and a little bit of rap and hip hop. But my go-to game I always have to listen to before the games is Headlines by Drake. Like the girls would know, they would play it right before we go out because they know Lauren has to listen to it.
Is it a superstitious thing?
I would say so. I think so, yeah.
I like it. Is there an embarrassing moment that'll always stand out in your career? And if so, will you tell us about it? You don't have to. And it doesn't have to be like in high school. It can be when you were a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old or something like that.
So one time this would have been AAU travel ball. I want to say it was I was not little. Like it might have been like freshman or 10th grade year. There was like a fire drill that went off during our game. So it just like messed me up a little bit. So we go back in and I guess we're breaking a press, but I thought we were just on offense.
Uh-oh.
So I got the ball and I was like, why is nobody guarding me? And I shot a layup and I made it, but then I realized I scored for the other team. So that was very embarrassing. And there was like college coaches there.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, well, that's just great.
But at least there was a fire drill. That's a good reason.
Kind of help it, but yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen like 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds do that, but
I know.
You can't do it when you're too old. Don't do that when you're too old. Can you tell us something that not a lot of people know about you? Is there any hidden like talent, hidden like, superstition, anything? Don't get yourself in trouble. I mean it as a fun question.
I know. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
If not, no big deal.
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like people know a lot about me. I don't think I have any like hidden talents or anything.
Basketball's not hidden, but it's pretty good.
I know.
That's pretty good. Well, tell me this. Do you have a favorite Quad City native? And obviously Central DeWitt helps as well. But when it comes to, standouts from this area or people that you've admired, is there somebody that stands out when it comes, you can do DeWitt, you can do the entire Quad City area when it comes to maybe athletes you admire?
Yeah. Obviously for me, it'd be Taylor Beach and Allie Meadows, just because they were my role models growing up. Like I always wanted to be like Taylor and Allie. I always wanted to play with them, and I got that opportunity too freshman year. But even now, obviously Taylor can't play much anymore because of her back. But especially Allie, she's having a lot of success at Western Illinois, so I just get to follow them, and they've just always been my role models. I still catch up with them sometimes, and I love seeing them, and they're definitely my role models here in DeWitt in that area.
It's amazing to think back of the tradition at Central DeWitt when it comes to girls basketball. It's really cool to see, and you're the last one, because I have to talk to everybody about food. And I think I asked your favorite restaurant, and I think you said McDonald's last year, which somebody's got to get you out and about a little more and all that kind of stuff. But if you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, you can only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Pasta. I love pasta. It's my favorite. And like then I can like switch it up a little bit. Like I can do red sauce, I can do Alfredo sauce, like switch it up, switch up the meats.
Okay, that's a great idea. Is there a place you like pasta from? And don't say like Fazoli's or something like that. Hopefully it's something good. Quality.
Probably my favorite would be the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
So good.
That is my wife's favorite restaurant, and we don't get to go to it enough because obviously there's not one in the Quad Cities.
Not around here.
But when you get to a place that's got a Cheesecake Factory, that's exactly where we go to. So, well, Lauren, I appreciate you doing this. Best of success. I'm going to bug you throughout your college career. Know that not just Central DeWitt, but you've done a great job kind of getting noticed by the rest of the community as well. Not just the Central DeWitt community, but the entire Quad Cities. The MAC was loaded this year. I know you guys did a lot of good things as a conference. So best of luck. Enjoy graduation. Enjoy your senior slide right out into graduation. I said to you, I'm like, what? Don't you go to school? And you do a little bit, but not as much as normal your senior year. So best of luck, and we appreciate you doing this once again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. That is Lauren Walker, Central DeWitt standout, and now Northern Iowa Panther. Really cool to see, and I can't wait to see what she does at the next level when it comes to college basketball. Well, you're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday. More to get to right after this.
Hey, Quad City parents, tired of the same old weekend routine? Well, listen up. Saturday night, April 26th, it's free youth jersey night with your Quad Cities Steamwheelers. The first 500 kids 12 and under score a free official Steamwheelers jersey just for showing up. That's right, free gear, big plays, and non-stop family fun. It's IFL football action and memories that'll last a lifetime. Grab your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets and make it a night your kids won't forget. Presented by Crawford Company.
Please join us April 24th through May 3rd online for the 20th annual Chuck Long Charity Auction presented by Atlantic Bottling Company. This year's event features over 200 amazing items. The more bidders we have, the more money we'll raise for life-altering therapy for kids in need right here in the Quad Cities. So please bid high and bid often. Brought to you by these sponsors. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Tuesday here in the Quad Cities. Of course, you saw that last little promo. The Chuck Long Charity Auction officially opens up on April 24th. So a little more than a week away. Next week, we'll catch up with Chuck Long and Angie Peterson to kind of talk about this year's event. And I'm going to be bugging you. There's some amazing items. And again, all the money that is raised stays right here in the Quad Cities, helping kids that need life-altering therapy. They help out so many kids. It's something that I'm so proud to have gotten to be a small part of over these years. So the Chuck Long Charity Auction coming up. It'll go online. Everything is online from April 24th till May 3rd. So we'll have a lot more information on all the kind of things you can score and get and bid on. Coming up next week right here and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, in the last break, you saw the Quad City Steamwheelers. The Steamwheelers are 4-0, and I don't want to take all the credit, but we do this thing called Steamwheeler Wednesday, and since we started that, the Wheelers don't lose. It's a bye week this week, so they won't lose this week for sure, but tomorrow we'll have our Steamwheeler Wednesday. Excited about that. Coming up on Thursday, we're looking to track down John Nelson, the Augustana softball coach, of course, very successful high school sports coach down the road from me at Rock Ridge High School. The Vikings are playing some really good softball right now, so we're going to talk to him coming up on Thursday. On Friday, we're going to focus on WrestleMania, so not 100%, but if you're a wrestling fan, you're going to want to watch. If you're not a wrestling fan, watch for some of it, but you might have to grind through some segments as well, because it's one of the best weekends of the year. Not thrilled that it's also Easter weekend, so I have to be a good dad and husband and balance wrestling and of course Easter and all those good things as well. So, but we're gonna do that for sure. Also, I do want to mention coming up next Thursday. Man, it's coming fast. Next Thursday, we're going to take the show on the road for the very first time. We're going to head to Oscars over in Bettendorf. It's our first remote show. We're going to be live from 5 to 7. So next Thursday, no show from 10 till noon. We'll be live from 5 to 7. It's round 1 of the NFL draft, so the draft starts at 7. We'll be live from 5 till 7. Pat Anger will be over there. We're going to get food, great drink specials, all those kind of things. A great atmosphere. Oscars over in Bettendorf will continue to chat about this the next week or so. But if you're in the Quad Cities and you want to hang out with myself or Pat or anybody else, talk some football, Tom Kakert's going to be over there. Hop on over to Oscars. Make plans now. Join us. Get off work at 5. Stop by, have a drink, talk some football, talk Quad City sports. We're super excited about it. So, again, next Thursday, April 24th at Oscars Pub. Super excited to take Off the Air on the road. And, of course, big thank you to my good friend T-Roy for allowing us to do all these kind of things and get over to Oscars. And T-Roy will be on for his mock draft, his .08 mock draft coming up later this week as well. Also, thanks to my good friend Dane Miller, who allows me to take this technology places. He's the brains behind everything technology-wise that I've somehow accomplished over the last 3 months, and I haven't accomplished it. It's been him. So we thank him as well. We're going to get him out there and get him some food and some beverages as well. Enjoy a good night out at Oscars as well. So that'll do it for today's show. If you missed any of it, go check it out. We want to thank Tom Kakert from coming on, talking about the Iowa edition and the transfer portal. Also, really excited about next year's high school football season. Geneseo and Assumption. We are joined by Matt Furlong and Nate Gilbraith to talk about that matchup. And then it lets your mind wonder a little bit. Like, can you do a shootout like they do in basketball and in girls basketball with football? There's some tough things to figure out, but I would love to see it. So we want to thank both those coaches for coming on, and also congratulations to Lauren Walker, one, for her commitment to Northern Iowa, but two, I think becoming the first 3-time guest here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo when it comes to high schoolers. So and now soon college basketball players as well. So congratulations to Lauren Walker. Go check out her interview. She's going to do big things up in Cedar Falls. And most importantly, we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to do this silly little show every single day. Again, tomorrow, Steam Wheeler Wednesday, and much more right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.